Hello folks, Papa Top 912 coming at you today with another one of our famous recipes. And the recipe for today is going to be some homemade shrimp cocktail. Now, you can't have shrimp cocktail without the shrimp, and shrimp is the most primary thing you're going to be working with. And when I like shrimp cocktail, I like shrimp cocktail. I don't like cocktail and shrimp. So I always start off with a good high quality shrimp, and these are the 8 to 12 count Argentinian red shrimp. They are a soft, buttery, and sweet shrimp. They're kind of like those Pensacola Royal Reds. Not as sweet as those, but they're in that same category to me. And I like these, and I like to get that large count, that 8 to 12 count, so you can have a lot of shrimp while you're eating, because I don't really like eating those little small ones. I like to get those big restaurant quality picture perfect shrimp cocktails, not the little ones. So that's the shrimp they're going to be using. And as far as seasonings go, there isn't a lot of seasoning that we put on the shrimp. We're just going to get some of this butter. Got some Kerrygold salted butter, lemon, and a little bit of sea salt, and some baking soda. The butter and the lemon goes without saying. You know, that's what it's going to do. That's just for the flavor. And then I'll add just a little bit more salt to them. You know, they are already wild caught fresh shrimp out the sea, so they have a little salt in them too. So very little salt. But then I'm also going to use a little bit of that baking soda. And what that baking soda is going to do is going to help the shrimp maintain a little bit of its body. So once it's cooked, it's not going to get like mushy or anything like that. But you don't really need a lot of it, just a little sprinkle of it on it. But it does help the shrimp hold its body as it's cooking. So that's what's going to be going on the shrimp. And now as far as the cocktail, we're going to be using just some ketchup. Now this is the Primal Kitchen's unsweetened ketchup. And then some hot and spicy horseradish sauce, or just horseradish, not the horseradish sauce. This is just straight horseradish. And then a little bit of this Lea & Pepper's Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and then a little bit of this Lakanto monk fruit sweetener just to knock the bitterness off of the sauce, since this is unsweetened ketchup. That's just a little bit of that to add a little sweetness to the mix. And all that's going to basically be to taste, but I'm going to start off with, you know, that whole bag of shrimp right there. I'll probably do about 4 to 6 tablespoons of the ketchup, and then maybe a half a tablespoon of the horseradish, and then just a couple shakes of the Worcestershire and a little sprinkle of sugar to taste. And that's what I'm going to do there. And then I will adjust that as it goes and let you know what the final mixture was. But again, everybody's taste buds are different. So what's good for me and my household might not be good for yours. This is the base that you work with. So take these ingredients, work with them, and then see what you come up with that you like. Now, how am I going to cook these shrimp? I am going to cook the shrimp sous vide style. I got my Anova sous vide cooker here, and I am going to cook the shrimp using this and my big old gigantic pot of water that's kind of sitting off to the side here. So I got my pot of water, and I got my sous vide cooker. Just gonna slide that in the water, and you can see that the minimum level is right there. So I got just enough water to cover the minimum level, because once I put the bag of shrimp in there, it's going to raise up, and then I'll add more water as needed to get it properly submerged. You just start off with enough water to submerge your motor, and then just work it from there. All right, guys. So as you can see, I just plugged up the unit, and the current water temperature is 82.5 degrees. Now, what you can do is you can go ahead and put hot water in here from the tap, because the hot water is not going to get on your food. Just use to cook it. So it'll just make this thing get up the temperature a lot faster, but it doesn't really take that long to get up the temperature anyway. So I'm going to hit the middle button to set my temperature, and I want it to be at 140. I'm going to cook these shrimp 140 degrees for 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start here. All right, So you can see that the light has turned blue now because it's starting to heat up the water, and the little immersion circulator inside of there is circulating, causing the current constant flow of the water. And all that does for you is that circulation makes sure you don't have any hot or cold spots inside of your pot. It's like an aquarium when you have a thermometer or a heater in your aquarium and you use the pump to circulate the water. Same kind of scenario right here. So I got that going. I'm going to go ahead now, while that's coming up to temp, peel the shrimp, season them up, put them in the bag. And after I put them in the bag, I'll come back and show you what that looks like, and then we'll immerse it and start the cooking process. While that's cooking, we'll also go ahead and whip up the cocktail sauce. So I'll be right back after I prep those shrimp. All right, y'all. So just in case the visuals weren't exactly there for you, couldn't make it out, that was 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 of a stick of butter, and then half a lemon juiced, and then I just put the lemons in there, and that butter was softened also. And that's all in this bag, and then I'm just gonna take all the air out of it. And now it's ready for the sous vide. So let's move on over to Mr. Sous Vide. But you see right now the current temperature is 132.3 and growing. I'm trying to get it up to 140. That's my target temperature. Once it gets up to 140, we'll start cooking these shrimp, and we're gonna cook these shrimp at 140 degrees for 45 minutes. And after that, we're gonna take them out, put them in an ice bath to chill them, stop that cooking process, and then we'll just plate them up with the cocktail sauce and get to eating. So we've hit 140 right there, people. You can see it's 140. So I'm gonna push this in, and you can see how that water level has risen. So the next thing I'm gonna do is, there's a slight trick to this. If you open your bag just a little bit and then submerge the food, it'll start forcing the air out. And so when that air is being forced out, then I'll zip it up. So now, got that zipped good. I'm going to take it back out for a second, and I'm going to flatten it now so that all of the shrimp is getting covered, and it's not like some shrimp on the inside has got shrimp on both sides of it. You just want to kind of get it a little flatter so that you get more even cooking inside. So I'm going to flatten these out here. All right. Then I'm going to put it back in the water. Then I'm going to cheat it using this. This is how I keep it submerged. I use the tongs because you can't see that, but I use the tong to just kind of hold the bag down at the bottom to keep everything submerged. You want to make sure everything's under the water. You can see I got a little more air in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this air out. All right. And that just helped. I had a couple shrimp right at the top there that wasn't submerged. Now those are submerged and everything is good. Just turning it a little bit because you don't really want the bag touching the heating element. So now that is set, and make sure my zips are above the water line just in case It has a little, I didn't seal it tight enough. And we just let it rip. We're gonna let it go now. So it's gonna cook like that in that water for the next 45 minutes. So now I'll just hit my timer. 45 minutes, start. And now it's just gonna go 140 degrees for 45 minutes. You can see it's at 44 now. And I'll try to turn this so you can see a little more in there. Kind of see that all of the shrimp are completely submerged under the water. You want to make sure everything's under the water. That's the most important part. So there you got it. We're just gonna let this thing go for 45 minutes and we're gonna get that ice bath ready. And while this is going on, we're gonna go ahead and get that cocktail sauce put together because I like my cocktail sauce chilled. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it all put together and put it in the refrigerator and let it chill. So be right back after I get this counter wiped off and we'll start the cocktail sauce. All right, guys, welcome back. Like I said, I was gonna go ahead and whip together this cocktail sauce for you real fast. So we're gonna go ahead and get that going. And we're gonna start off with the ketchup. That's 2. Four. 6 heaping tablespoons of ketchup. Then I'm going to go with, for now, 1 heaping teaspoon of horseradish. And maybe about a 1/4 teaspoon of that sugar. And a 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. So we're gonna start with that because this will be my first time making it with this Primal Kitchen ketchup. So I'm not really sure what the flavor profile is gonna be. So when you're doing stuff like this, you can always add, but it's hard to take away. So I'm gonna mix this up real quick and then we'll just add to it as needed if we need anything. I smell the horseradish. Let's see. So it's a little bit weak. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another heaping teaspoon of horseradish. And definitely gonna add at least another 1/4 teaspoon of the sugar. Because again, that ketchup was unsweetened, so it doesn't have a lot that it's working with. All right, give it a little taste. One more taste here. Still not feeling the horseradish, so I like a good horseradish sauce, so Horseradish just seemed a little weaker than it was last go around. So far that's 6 heaping tablespoons of the ketchup, 3 heaping teaspoons of the horseradish, and then a half teaspoon of Worcestershire and half a teaspoon of the sugar. All right, the horseradish is there now. I'm gonna go ahead and add another. Just go to a full half on the sugar now. So now that's going to be 1 teaspoon of the sugar, and then we'll go another half on the Worcestershire. So that's 1 teaspoon of that. Alright. That right there is going to do it for me. I'm going to leave it right there at that. I like the flavor on it. So that's just how quick and easy it is to make some horseradish sauce. You know what I'm thinking though? I still got a half a lemon. I'm gonna put a little bit of lemon juice in here just to crank up the acidity a little bit. So here's my half a lemon. Just the juice, not the seeds. Yeah, that did it. That did it. So we're gonna let this be. Go ahead and let it chill in the refrigerator till the shrimp are ready, and then we'll plate it up. All right, y'all. So you can see that there's about 30 seconds left on the timer, and I got my ice bath here. Some cold water. Put a whole tray of ice in there, so it's nice and chilled off and cool. I mean, it's cold to the touch, so it's gonna really stop that cooking. All right, folks, welcome back. This is the end of the process here. So once the shrimp got done in the sous vide cooker, I took them out. I put them into an ice bath, got them chilled off. And then I drained them, laid them on a plate, put them in the refrigerator, and let them go ahead and chill. While they were chilling, I did chill off the cocktail sauce, and then I got some jumbo lump crab and some avocado, and we're just having just a little medley of seafood there. So I got some avocado and some jumbo lump crab in there. And then some of the shrimp. I cut up a few of them. Like I said, these were the 8 to 12 count, and I ended up with 21 shrimp, if I recall. So it was right in the middle on the 10 to 11 count. But you can see these are some pretty big shrimp that's hanging off. So now I'm just going to take my cocktail sauce here. And while I'm doing this, I'll let the militant midget tell y'all what she thought about the cocktail sauce first, and then what she thought about the shrimp that she kept sampling while I was preparing the dish. So start off with the cocktail sauce.
The cocktail sauce is yummy. It actually tastes like actual cocktail sauce.
As opposed to fake cocktail sauce, people.
The shrimp, I think, already answered itself.
Was it tender?
Yes.
Was it juicy?
Yes.
Was it mushy?
No.
So it was cooked just right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. That sous vide will get y'all right every time, people.
Shrimp. I just want to eat it now.
But these aren't for you. 1 for mommy, 2 for me.
Excuse me?
Excuse you? So, there we go right there, people.
He's kidding, y'all. He's kidding. 1 for me, too.
That's the end. So, touch on my shrimps.
Yes, I'll sit there.
I know. So, that's the end result right there of the shrimp cocktail. You can see we ended up making it just a little bit more fancy, but it's all good.
I just want to eat it now.
So it's got some jumbo lump crab meat, some chopped up shrimp in there,
And
some
avocado.
fresh avocado chunked, and then we took the biggest and best shrimp and just hung them off that dish. So if you give this recipe a try, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. This is Papa Top 912 and
Game of TT 911.
signing off.